Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Robbie Basel show. Today is September 17th when you guys are going to be viewing this. Earlier upload today. Hope you guys appreciate it. And I'll also appreciate if you guys hit the like button down below, subscribe to the channel. Would really appreciate it. And before I get started, today's video is going to be the Champions League preview. And we're going to break up into multiple sections so you guys can get some in-depth analysis on most of the teams broken down by section. We'll talk about that in a minute. But before that, couple housekeeping items. On the day of when this video goes live, I will be on ESPN, 1 Eastern, ESPN Plus, link in description for the game. It's Iona. It's George Washington men's soccer. I'll be on commentary with Grant Del Vecchio, a good friend of mine. And it should be fun, should be exciting. Like I said, link in description. I'll be on color that day, but I won't be on color commentary on Saturday. If those have been paying attention to Empire Sports Media, I will be play-by-play for Tennessee, Oklahoma for the watch along on Empire Sports Media on Saturday, 7:30 Eastern on Saturday night. It's going to be a good time. We'll maybe have the link in description for yesterday, but who the hell knows? Last night's I'm recording this on Monday. Last night's stream I wasn't on the game mainly. I was the reporter, that was a very scuffed reporting job for me yesterday. Last night's chat was ridiculous. You don't want to see what the chat was asking JJ and Jack, who was with JJ yesterday in replacement for me, due to my game being so delayed. And we'll have that issue probably on Saturday, but who the hell knows? It's just how it is with the Iona connections and all of that with the Wi-Fi. But regardless of that, that's pretty much all the housekeeping for that. Oh, I said in the last video that WIUR starts, the first episode is the day that this video goes live. That is changing due to the new studio. We had a meeting about it on the day I'm recording this, which was Monday, that some of the people who are with the e-board have to do a training thing that's probably on Tuesday. So we won't be putting out the first video tomorrow or the day of this video goes live on Tuesday. Sorry about that, guys. It will probably be live first episode next week. So false alarm for videos tomorrow, or for the video today, excuse me. It won't happen until next week. So first Ball Nose episode next week. So mark your calendars, 1 p.m. every Tuesday. It should be a good time. I'm really excited to be working alongside Cam and Luke. Maybe like I said, maybe Into the Stands comes back. I have no idea if Into the Stands comes back. I'm not going to comment on the future of that right now. But I also got to show you guys this. What do you think, chat? I think it might be, yeah, it's flipped for you guys. This is what my board looks like for tomorrow. So I did prep for the game very well for the Iona George Washington game. Like I said, link in the description for that contest. But now that housekeeping is done, let's talk the UEFA Champions League, and we'll talk about the new format first. So it is what goes from 32 teams with the 8 groups of 4 to a 36-team league phase. So you're going to play 8 teams, which was generated, the whole schedule thing was generated with Ronaldo hitting a button, which was honestly, what it was a perfect way to do it. Was Ronaldo just hitting a button in the middle, and the computer generated the schedules. So what this is going to happen for what's the Champions League going to look like? You play the 8 games, and it's one big table of 36 teams. You have to finish in at least, I believe it's the top 24 to go to the first knockout round. You do not get relegated to the Europa League anymore. So the Champions League, Europa, and Europa Conference League, each of them are their own separate entity now, which is weird, I know. But essentially, we will have, top 24 at least make the knockouts. Top 8 get a bye to the round of 16. The next 16 teams will play in the first knockout round, and so on and so forth until we get an eventual champion. And the bottom 12 are just done. Simple. So We have 36 teams ranging from various leagues across Europe, from Spain and England, France, Italy, the usual suspects. We got other main leagues. We talked about France, Portugal's here. Shout out to teams like Slovan Bratislava, which I believe is Slovakia or Slovenia. I don't really remember. I think it's Slovakia. Red Stars here, Sparta Prague from Czechia, Sturm Graz and Red Bull Salzburg from Austria. You have Celtic from Scotland, so the Scots are represented. We got Dinamo Zagreb. He's here as well. I believe that's Croatia. You have Young Boys from Switzerland. It's another good team. And Feyenoord from the Netherlands, and so on and so forth. So, how are we breaking this down? We're going to break this down into, I believe, five or six. I don't even remember. We're going to break it into sections, starting from, I believe we're going to do about the bottom six, who have, I believe, not a great shot to make it through to the knockouts. Then we're going to go through the remaining teams are just short, and we're going to go over some of the teams in the first knockout round, who make it through there, who are in the top half of the first knockout round, and who made it to, of course, who I believe will make it to the round of 16 with a bye. So let's begin with who I believe are the bottom six. I have bottom with Slovan Bratislava. I have them on 0 points with a negative 13 goal difference. They play a very difficult schedule. A lot of these teams play very difficult schedules and don't have the quality to go up against some of these bigger teams. You see the same thing with Red Star, which I believe Red Star has one of the most underrated atmospheres in the world. Serbia is way harder than you think it is to go out there and play. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be intense for sure. But last year we saw that Red Star team get destroyed in the Champions League group stage. And I believe we're going to see something very similar here with Red Star. You have Stade Brestois of France. I'm not a big supporter of Stade Brestois. They have an okay team. They're the lowest team that actually score a point. They put up two. They put up 2 draws. I'm just not that confident in them. It's their first ever time, I believe, in a European competition. Just not confident in them enough to really go out there and compete. You have Sparta Prague, who I think are going to be one of the more underwhelming teams in the league phase out of this bottom side of the draw. They do grab a win, but I think they're going to get battered by a lot of the top clubs, and you'll see that theme a lot. Now, I see the same thing for Sturm Graz. Now, Sturm Graz is, I believe, the first different Austrian winner of the Austrian league in like nearly a decade, because Red Bull Salzburg usually walks the league. That didn't happen, and shout out to Sturm Graz. They're even here. But like I said, they don't have the quality to go up and try and go head to head with many of the sides in this competition. And I'm going to say the same thing for one of the biggest disappointments. I have Celtic next. I have Celtic in 31st. 1 win, 2 draws, and 5 defeats. They do play some very interesting opponents. Let's take a look at some of them now for Celtic. I just searched up Celtic on Google and it didn't put up. They actually open with Slovan, which is, I believe, their only win I give them in the groups in the league phase. They have to play Dortmund. They play Atalanta. They play Leipzig and Brugge. I don't see them beating teams like that. They are going to compete against those teams. Absolutely. They could go out and get a result, like I believe, against Club Brugge, Dinamo Zagreb, who I believe I gave them a draw to, and so on and so forth. Young Boys, another game where I can see them compete. But I'm just not confident enough in them to go out there and be consistent, especially with how competitive the Scottish League is going to be with Rangers. I just don't see it for Celtic. And another disappointment and another debutant, Girona is next. Girona, who are missing out by just 2 points on the next knockout round. Listen, they got very unlucky with the draw. I don't have them scoring 6 goals. It's a very unfortunate draw for Girona. It was always going to be a difficult path for them. Now I'm going to even put them together with the next club in the final team of the first section. That is Bologna. Bologna and Girona, 2 teams that are debuting, I believe, in the Champions League. And listen, Bologna sold Joshua Zirkzee. They signed replacements for Joshua Zirkzee, but the inexperience in these types of competitions is what I think is going to really hurt Bologna. Same with Girona. Both of them are in the same spot. Both sold a lot of talent. Didn't get the most back. So I have Bologna finishing 29th and Girona 30th. So we'll go through those teams again. We have Bologna 29th, then Girona, Celtic, Sturm Graz 32nd, 33rd Sparta Prague, 34th Stade Brestois, 35th Red Star, 36th Slovan Bratislava. So who are the four teams that just miss out on my first knockout round? Who just misses the first knockout round? In 28th, it's the aforementioned Club Brugge. Now, Bruges as a whole, they're good. Like Club Brugge, they have a lot of good players and they have a lot of talent and they've experienced in these competitions. But the issue for them is just consistent underachieving. And I think we're going to see that these open it up with Dortmund. They go out and they play Aston Villa, which I think is a trap game for probably both of them. They play Celtic, they play Sporting. Yeah, but this is where it gets weird. They get to play Man City, Juventus, like those games. You can't back a team like Brugge to win. They finish with City, Juventus, with Juventus and City. That's a very tough schedule to finish on. And I think they're going to struggle against some of these higher level teams. Aston Villa, I think they're going to really struggle with. Sporting, I think, have a good chance of making it to the quarterfinals. They're going to struggle against Brugge is going to struggle against Sporting. So I don't have enough confidence in them to go out there and beat the bigger clubs. Like I said, they were going to last year. I have them just missing out. They miss out by 1 point. Tough scenes. Now, this is where it gets interesting. I have four teams tied on 8 points. The one team that I have barely missing, first off, I'm barely missing on 8 points. Actually, no, they are on 7. My mistake. Is Dinamo Zagreb. Now, Dinamo Zagreb and the Croatians. Dinamo Zagreb is one of those clubs. Hajduk Split. They really dominate the Croatian league. But the issue with that is some of the Croatian teams are really okay. I'll word this lightly. They're really bad. Like the league is not great. It's a league that Dinamo Zagreb and Hajduk Split dominate. So when you play teams like that all the time, young boys can kind of, who we're talking about next, we'll put them together. Both of them are in the same situation where their league sucks, and because of that, the competition is less strong in a way. So I think that's the main issue on why I don't think either of them are going to translate that into success in the Champions League. I know Young Boys is struggling in Switzerland. They're like 5th, I think, right now. What are Young Boys level in Switzerland? I think they're like, oh, they're 12th. They're bottom of the Swiss league in 6 matches. So I guess forget what I said about Switzerland. But sometimes when you're like towards the bottom as well, I know Young Boys is having injury issues. Also, shout out Basel for being 4th. I will buy a kit of Basel eventually because it's like, for those who don't know, Basel is spelt like my last name. So I think it would be kind of funny if I had a Basel kit and I wore it. Support Basel. Well, forget it. So Young Boys, I'm not that confident in. They've only gotten 3 points. Tough scenes. Dinamo Zagreb, they don't play in a strong enough league. The fact that Young Boys is struggling in this league is a big problem for them. I know they got a couple of new players, so I just don't think they're all gelling together yet. Young Boys miss out by goal difference. Dinamo Zagreb misses out by 1 point. Being tied on goal difference in the last team of Section 2, and just missing out, I believe, on goals 4. On goals 4, that is the biggest disappointment. The team's not making it. Lille. Lille, led by Jonathan David, they're a very weird team. And if you take a look at Lille's schedule, they're in a very weird spot to begin with. If I could, this is why I hate about Google. They always put up the city first. They open with Sporting away, which is a very tough ask, by the way. They play Atletico Madrid, They play Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Sporting to start. Juventus. They do get to play Bologna, which is a free win. Sturm Graz is cool. They end with Liverpool and a trap game against Feyenoord. They're going to struggle against some of these bigger teams, particularly like playing Real Madrid and all of them. That sucks. So, and Lille, not off to the hottest start in the French league. They've split their first four, currently sitting in eighth position. So I'm not gonna overreact and say Lille's not good at all. They're doing terrible. No, Lille just gets unlucky. I think at the beginning, try to have to work all the way back. I don't see it. I have them finishing just missing out on the knockout stage by goals for. So they're gonna finish in 25th, just missing out on goals for. So, welcome to section number 3. This is going to be the section of the bottom half of teams that make the first knockout round. And the first team to make it into the first knockout round, finishing, like I said, on goals for from Ukraine, Shakhtar Donetsk. Shakhtar are a very weird team. And the reason I say they're a very weird team is that they always shine against teams that they're not supposed to play, that they're not supposed to be, but just suck against lower tier competition. We saw that in last year's Champions League a lot. Now, in a different situation, this Shakhtar team, I think, can turn a lot of heads. They play Arsenal, they play a lot of high level clubs, yeah, but Shakhtar always perform well for the most part, especially on the road, not at home. They don't play really any home games. On the road, they've been pretty good as of late. So I am confident enough in this Shakhtar team. I don't even know how many points. I gave them 2 draws, 2 wins. Same with a lot of these teams. I almost dropped my phone there. Sorry about that. I think it's going to be very, very close. I'm going to say Shakhtar barely gets into the first knockout round. And joining them as the team that barely makes the first knockout round is a team that makes the Champions League more than you think. That is Red Bull Salzburg from Austria. Austrian Giants, they know how to get it done. They're experienced at this point in the Champions League. They were in it last year. They struggled. I think this team has enough quality in them. I love the midfield with Salzburg. The way they're able to hold possession, the defense has always been strong. They're going to run through Austria again, and I think they're going to have a deep enough team to cause some problems. I'm going to have them finish 23rd. Finishing 22nd is a team that I think is going to struggle in some big matches because they did that last year. They also draw a lot in my prediction, and that's Feyenoord. Now, the problems I have with Feyenoord, I'll warp the team that's next to them, and Sporting, I think they're both going to disappoint, is that they play very difficult schedules. They play a lot of the top clubs. And Feyenoord, if you remember in last year's Champions League, struggled in big matches. Sporting kind of did, but they drew a lot, so they could kind of get away with it. But both of them, I have these are 2 teams I'm finishing on 9 points. They're actually going to finish on the same goal difference. I have them in this prediction with the same amount of goals for and against. So I think I think one of them has like less yellow cards. I think is how I did it. And I put Sporting in front of Feyenoord because Feyenoord's a very physical team. I mean, they play in the Netherlands. The Dutch league is like absolute mayhem every single week. It feels like. So I'm gonna have Feyenoord in 22nd, Sporting in 21st to round out the teams that just missed the top 20. Finishing in 20th, just inside the top 20, I have a team that's been a little bit of a slow start in the Bundesliga, and that is RB Leipzig. Now, Leipzig returns to the Champions League once again. And listen, Leipzig are good, but there's just teams that in front of them are better. And I'll just name a couple of them that I have in front. If I could pull up the right page. Like ahead of them, I have teams that I think can perform better than them. Stuttgart, Monaco, Juventus. You have, of course, Villa, Liverpool. You have Barcelona, Atalanta. All of those teams, I think, can perform better and more consistently because last year's Leipzig team was not consistent whatsoever. So, if you look at this RB Leipzig group, they have talent in a lot of areas. They have Xavi Simons. They have Ben Sheshko, one of my favorite strikers in the world, Baumgartner, Gertruda. They have a lot of quality throughout the squad. But they also have Andre Silva in the forwards, David Raum, Gulashki in goal. Hopefully, I said that right. The Hungarian goalkeeper. They got a lot of quality, but I just think their schedule's really difficult for them. And they always under another team that for some reason struggle in big matches. So I'm gonna put them where I have them in 20th. And in finishing in 19th, I'm gonna go with a team that's was under some fire recently for points deductions and all that fun stuff. That is the aforementioned Juventus team, who I think are gonna have the same problem with Leipzig. They're good. They're just gonna suck against some of the big teams. Juventus is one of those teams that are always gonna beat. They're never gonna get like beaten out of a match. And what I mean by, like, they're not gonna get outplayed by anybody. They're just gonna suck at some like, just not be as good in certain moments, and they're gonna be ones to concede late, make more mistakes. They're not gonna get outplayed for a majority of a match. They're not a team that does that. One or two mistakes by Juventus, which lead to a goal, they don't respond very well to those at times, and that's what's gonna hurt Juventus the most. I have Juventus they open it up with the aforementioned Leipzig in match day 2. They play PSV on the day of the recording of this video, 12:45, one of the first games of the new format. I think that game with PSV is going to be a big teller on how good both of these teams are. Because I have both of them in the first knockout round, of course. I don't think I have them projected to play each other in the knockouts. I don't. So, listen, this team, this Juventus squad, I think it makes some noise, but I have them on the down. I'm going to have them finish in 19th position. Finishing 18th, we're going to go on to the first half, top half of this league. Finishing in the barely inside the top half is a team that I think is going to struggle to score at times. That's what's going to haunt them the most. And that is Benfica. Now, the Portuguese Giants have been in the Champions League a lot recently. They played Arsenal. They've done a lot of good things. They've caused teams issues defensively. The problem I've had with them for a while is they don't score enough. And I think that's going to be an issue that's going to haunt them here. I have them with 3 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses. Issue is they're not going to score enough. They're on a -1 goal difference on 11 points, which, by the way, is fairly respectable. I have them in the first knockout round. I just don't think their goal scoring is good enough right now. Maybe they may have signed a player I forgot about, but their goal scoring was just never really there for Benfica. I'm going to have them finish in 18th. In 17th, and this is going to be the highest finishing Dutch squad, I have PSV Eindhoven. Now, Eindhoven, PSV, they're a weird one because they're another one of those teams that can just randomly shine and have a chance to go out there and beat an Arsenal. I think they can maybe, if they had to, go out and beat who's another good team here? AC Milan out of nowhere. But then they could randomly suck against like Stade Brestois and have it ruined for them. I don't even think they play Stade Brestois. But you get the idea. They're a team that's going to need consistency to go out there and make serious noise in this competition. I think at some points they will find it. I have them finishing ahead of Benfica on goals 4. They're going to finish on 11 points based on my prediction with a -1 goal difference but based on goals 4. I think their defense might be a little bit of a problem for them, but goals 4 is what's going to save this PSV team in 17th. In 16th, and this was a team I did not like the position I put them in, but that's where they've projected to finish based on the calculations I did. That is Stuttgart. Now, I think this Stuttgart team has a very good chance of missing the knockouts entirely or finishing in like 12th. The problem is, once again, first time in a long time or really ever that Stuttgart is in a competition like this. The problem is we don't really know what type of Stuttgart we're going to get because Stuttgart, I don't think is off to the hottest start in the Bundesliga. Hopefully I put like a graphic of where they are. Because this, like VfB Stuttgart, they open with Real Madrid as well. So that's a big welcome to the Champions League moment. They're mid-table. They've won one, drawn a game, and also lost. I don't remember. Wasn't the loss to a team that's like okay, but like not great? They lost to Freiburg. They drew Mainz, but conceded a lot. They've conceded in their first 3 games and they already have like a -4 goal difference, and they've conceded 7 goals in 4 games. The good thing is Stuttgart can score. Problem is, can they defend well enough to go up against these top teams? I think they have a good shot of really struggling with Real Madrid and some of these bigger clubs. They play Real Madrid. They do get to play Sparta Prague, so that would be a fun match. Juventus, they get to play Atalanta. Red Star, who I have Red Star losing that game, of course. They get Young Boys. So they do get some games that they get to go out and beat. The problem is, can they defend well enough in those games to really go out there and secure the 3 points? I have them. I keep opening the wrong app for this. I have them on 11 points as well, but based on a good enough goal difference, I have Stuttgart in 16. Finishing in the top 15, we're going to go to France next, and we got Monaco. Now, Monaco are always one of those teams that are going to be in the conversation just because of the experience that they have in this group. They've been in Europe a lot, and I believe they actually put up a good showing in Europe last year. Let me check that real quick, 'cause I know they were in the conversation for the group for like in their Champions League run last year. They were, I think they actually got grouped last year. It's not sure. Were they in the Champions League last year? I thought they were in the Champions League last year. So yeah, AS Monaco, they made the Champions League this year. I just don't remember if they made it. I thought they made it last year. But regardless, they're led by Florian Balogun. They got Minamino, Briel and Bolo, Lamine Camara, Vanderson, who's a respectable defender. They got Jordan Teze, another respectable defender. So this Monaco team, even if I think I screwed it up, I don't think they played in Europe last year, right? Did they not make it Champions League to? Oh no, they just missed Europe. Wow, I was thinking of the wrong team because I thought Monaco was Marseille. Or was Lens for a second. I thought Monaco was second in 2022, and they weren't. So my bad, my mistake. Monaco, regardless, even with the talent they have, they still have enough experience in Europe to go where they are. It's a great moment by me here. That's a great clip. Monaco, I have winning 4, drawing 1, losing 3. They finished in 15th. And here's where it gets really fun. So I think you were waiting for when I was going to mention a Premier League club. Well, here's the first one, and they're actually going to be 2 finishing right around the same spot. But here's the first one. And that is Aston Villa. Now, Ollie Watkins and Unai Emery's team in the Premier League struggled with a team like Arsenal, which did worry me a little bit because they were playing well enough at home, but then they just fell apart. And Aston Villa recently went behind multiple goals down to Everton. Now, the good news for Aston Villa, they open with young boys, so they can go out and grab 3 points to start the tournament. Great. Can they continue that? And listen, Ollie Watkins, I think is great. Their forward core, amazing. Midfield, defensively, they have it all together. The inexperience, though, and the first time Unai Emery is really going to be under some fire for trying to push this Aston Villa team to where their potential can be. I think this thing could, if they get hot at the right time, could finish top 10 in the Champions League phase. I don't think they will. I think 14th is an appropriate spot for this group. I have Villa 14th. 13th, I have last year's Europa League champion. That is Atalanta. Now, Atalanta and Adama Lookman has been great for Atalanta at the forward position. I think there's a good chance that Adama Lookman wins the Golden Boot in at least the league part for Atalanta. He's been a great striker. He was big in the Europa League final, and I love how he plays in big matches. He's going to be one of the main reasons this Atalanta team is great. Midfield group, love it. Defense, love it. Do they have enough talent to be better than a Liverpool or Barcelona? I don't think so. So right now, I think Atalanta will have only losing 2 matches in the whole thing on 14 points, which will be very respectable for Atalanta. I have them finishing 13th in the league. in 12th, another big shocker here, and it's based on them missing the top 8 by 2 points. That's Barcelona. Now, Barcelona, very interesting group. They actually have the highest goal difference on teams before 6th. So if you look at 7 to 12, highest goal difference is Barcelona. And yes, they lose one game all in the whole tournament, in at least the league phase. The issue is they draw a lot. I have a feeling they're going to draw a lot. They open with Monaco and Young Boys. Good match. They open with they get Red Star, Brest. Second half is where it gets a little iffy. Atalanta, Benfica. They also have, where are the other matches? Atalanta, Benfica. They have Dortmund, Stade Brestois, who could be a trap game. They also get Bayern. I almost forgot about Bayern. I have them. I think it's the one loss I gave them was Bayern. But some of these trap games can really hurt this Barcelona group. Of course, they have Lamine Yamal and company. I'm just a little bit worried about Barcelona's, like, the youth. Sometimes the youth, if you really push them enough, struggle in these some of these environments. I have Barcelona 12. However, I do have them, I believe, going pretty far in the knockouts. I don't really remember, so stay tuned to where I have them in the knockouts. We're over 30 minutes in, and we're not even at the top 8 yet, so we'll keep it moving along. And coming in 11th, just missing on the top 10, is Liverpool. Now, Liverpool, under Arne Slot, went out. This is where their momentum might die immediately. They went out and lost to Nottingham Forest over the weekend, which begs the question, how good is this Liverpool team? Like, I know they were, like, all right, but losing to Nottingham Forest? Bold shout. They open with AC Milan. Then they play Bologna, so they just love playing it, the Italians. They get Leipzig, Leverkusen, Real Madrid, Girona. And they have Lille and PSV. So the second half is great. The first half is where we're really going to see what type of Liverpool team are we. How good is this Liverpool team in the big matches? When you have to go up against Real Madrid, when you have to play Leverkusen at home, when you play a possible trap fixture away to Leipzig at the Red Bull. I believe that's is it the Red Bull Arena in Leipzig? Yeah, Red Bull Arena Leipzig. Great. Those are the games, AC Milan, where they open up with in the match they won at the San Siro. Those games is really what we're going to see from this Liverpool group. And I think they're going to be comfortable enough in the big matches with the forward core they have, Van Dijk in the back, Alisson in goal, how big he can perform in some of the big matches. I'm going to go with Liverpool finishing just outside the top 10, falling just short of the team they play in match day 1, AC Milan. I have Milan losing twice, winning 5, drawing 1, finishing ahead of Liverpool by goal difference because AC Milan, I just trust them more in front of goal. AC Milan's forward core, I think, is great. If you look at the start first, they have Rafa Leao, Pulisic. Some of those players, we'll take a look at more of them. They have Alvaro Morata, Yusuf Fofana is great. Emerson Royale, Tammy Abraham. They have Teo Hernandez. They got Magnan in goal, who I think is better in some situations than Alisson. They got a great group, and I just trusted more in some of these games. AC Milan, if you look at who they open up with, they do get a difficult start as well. They play Liverpool, Leverkusen, but then they get to play their Club Brugge, and then they play Real Madrid, but they get Slovan Bratislava, Red Star, and teams like that. And that's where this AC Milan team is going to finish a little tiny bit higher on goal difference because they get to play more bad teams than Liverpool does, and that's that. So AC Milan, love their goal scoring. I think that's what's going to save them. I have them finishing 10th. Now, who do I have just missing out on the top 8? And finishing off this section will be Paris Saint-Germain, missing by 1 point. This PSG group, I think, has the possibility of finishing like 18th or 4th. We don't know what this PSG team is going to show us. This is the first tournament that they're gonna have in a long time where they're not gonna have a player like Mbappe at forward. But they still got some good players. Love the midfield of it with players like Vitinha. They got Donnarumma in goal. Let's look at this first team for PSG real quick, just so we know what that you're going to be able to see from Paris Saint-Germain. They got Donnarumma in goal. They got Hakimi, Marquinhos, Lucas Hernandez, Nuno Mendes. They got the Skriniar. Midfielders, Vitinha, Lee Kong-in, Zaire Emery. They got the new signing, João Neves, who's awesome. Forward core, you have Colomwani, Ramos, Dembele, Bradley Barcola. They got the team that can get them into a top 10 situation. Question is, can they put it all together? I think they do, but just miss out on a bye to the knockouts. I have this PSG group finishing ninth in the standings, 5 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, finishing actually on the same goal difference as AC Milan. I didn't realize that. But based on one more goal for, I have them over AC Milan. So who are the 8 going to the round of 16? And we're going to start off with a team that was unbeaten throughout the entire last season. That is Bayer Leverkusen. Now, Leverkusen, I do eventually have them getting revenge with Atalanta, which is awesome because let's be honest, they should have beaten Atalanta last year. It would have been more fitting for Leverkusen to go on and, win the treble or something and have him have like a listen, that Bayern team last year was bad, but this Leverkusen group took advantage of Bayern being bad. Now, Leverkusen has to back up what they did last year. They open up with Feyenoord on Thursday, which is going to be a tough ask. But the team led by players like Florian Wirtz, Frimpong, Jonathan Tah, Victor Boniface, they have enough talent to finish really strong. And the way they play in some of these big matches, I think the big key for them is how's Florian Wirtz going to perform. I like how much he can perform in some of these big situations. They have the talent to be really strong. I back them in these types of situations. So I'm going to have Leverkusen with the schedule they have. They get to play. They open it up with Feyenoord, Milan, Brest, Liverpool, Salzburg, Inter, Atletico Madrid, another tough ask. But Leverkusen, I think, will have a little more quality in some of these matches. They also get to play Sparta Praha. I back Leverkusen more. I'm going to go with Leverkusen. They lose once in the whole league phase, finish on 17 points, and they're going to be tied with 2 others on points, but fall behind on goal difference. Finishing ahead of them on goal difference, I have the newly revamped Atletico Madrid squad with another player who I think can get the golden boot. That's Julian Alvarez. They spent a lot of money in the transfer window, this Atletico Madrid team. Let's take a look at some of the signings that Atletico Madrid made first. So Atletico Madrid, who recently are coming off a win against Valencia and are currently second in La Liga. They signed Conor Gallagher. They signed Julian Alvarez. If you look at the rest of the team, they still got Jan Oblak in goal, one of the best goalkeepers in the world from Slovenia. They still have Lenormand at the center half. They have they have Koke, the older Spanish midfielder, Antoine Griezmann, Marcos Llorente. We already mentioned Julian Alvarez, and he's paired with Argentine Angel Correa. The problem has been some of these bigger names haven't been scoring as much for this Atletico Madrid team. Julian Alvarez, 5 games, 1 goal. So it's been a little bit of a slow start for Julian Alvarez. I think he turns it up. I think he turns up in the big moments. I think he does it in the Champions League. And I have this Atletico Madrid team finishing 7th, just behind the hospital bed of Arsenal. Yes, I am putting Arsenal top 8. This is not me being biased. This is not me being like a fanboy of the team, even though I will say this, I am a fan of the club. But you guys know, if you've watched this channel long enough, I am not that biased or biased. I try not to be biased at all. Arsenal, when they're fully healthy, are a top 10 team in the world. With the center backs they have, fullback duo that they could have when everyone's not hurt, a midfield that right now is discombobulated because of Rice getting suspended, Odegaard's out for who knows how long. We haven't been able to see Mikel Merino yet. But with some of these players, the way they can rise to the occasion, Trossard on the wing with Saka, and Kai Havertz with the way he's been playing, this team is extremely dangerous to go out and make serious noise. I do have them making serious noise in this Champions League run based on the draws that I did with the computer to draw the rest of this tournament out later, which we'll go into after the predictions for the league phase. This team can score. This team has arguably the best defense, one of the best defenses in the world. I have them only conceding 4, which is tied for the lowest in the entire thing. They grabbed 17 points and finished 1 goal higher. Finished higher by 1 goal ahead of Atletico Madrid. Top 5 will start us off with Inter, who are tied but are behind on goals for. They're tied with Borussia Dortmund, who I am still very, very high on. We'll start with Inter. They are interesting, led by Lautaro Martinez. They are coming off a very frustrating draw against Monza, and they open with Man City, which could really cause them some issues. But they really get to bounce back in their next 2, and then they get to play a statement game, which I have as a draw between them and Arsenal, which should be a very fun matchup. They still have to play Leipzig, Leverkusen, so a difficult back end of the season. But I think they could get some results against some of these bigger clubs, particularly Leverkusen and Leipzig. So, yes, they can make some serious noise, but they can fall. But I still like this Leverkusen, Inter team enough to where I could put them as high as they are. I'm having them 5th. By the way, watch out for a big tournament, of course, from one of the best strikers in the world, I believe, Lautaro Martinez. They also got Matty Taremi, Marcus Thuram, Jan Sommer in goal, which is awesome. And their defense headlined by Denzel Dumfries, who I think could cause some chaos out on the wing, on the outside fullback position. Also, scored the equalizer against Monza, by the way. But going to 4th in Borussia Dortmund, I was not expecting when I was picking their matches for them to be this high. But the reason they are this high is that I got enough confidence in them to have them win some of these bigger games. Karim Adeyemi has the chance here to really put himself up there on the world stage. They got Maximilian Bayer. They have Pascal Gross, Emery Chan, Julian Brandt, Nicolas Sube, Sapitzer, Gio Reyna when he actually wants to touch the field. They get a lot of quality. You cannot deny that. Gregor Kobel, who's in goal for this team, the younger Swiss goalkeeper. Schlotterbeck at center half. Nicolas Sula. Midfield headlined, of course, by Julian Brandt and Sapitzer. And a forward core headlined by Adeyemi and Beer. They're young and they're explosive. And playing in front of the yellow wall is not easy. With the way this team can play and the way how technical the side is as well. And you gotta back them after that run they had last year. They so far, if you look at the results they've had, the one thing I can tell you, they can score, and they could score a lot. They did struggle with Werder Bremen away, but they've put up 6 goals in 3 matches. I'm convinced by them. They also played some well in friendlies, and they did all this other nonsense. So I'm going to back them here. I am putting Borussia Dortmund 4th. Top 3, we're going to rally the troops to get the top 2 together. We have 2 teams that go unbeaten, but just fall apart late. And that is Bayern and Man City, with Real Madrid atop, going unbeaten and not dropping a point. Real Madrid will be the first team in the new league phase to go officially. They don't draw or lose. They go unbeaten, and they also don't draw. First team to grab all 24 points in the history of the league phase will be Real Madrid. Listen, this Real Madrid team, they added Mbappe, Endrick. They have the best forward trio in the world. with Mbappe, Vinicius, Rodrigo. You're not stopping that. Midfield headlined by Jude Bellingham. He's almost impossible to stop on his own. A great defense. Goalkeeper solid. They have everything you need, and they're going to be why I have them going extremely far in this competition. Man City have arguably the best informed striker in the world in Erling Haaland, who has 9 goals in 4 Premier League matches. With the team he has around him, with Kevin De Bruyne, a strong defense headlined by Ruben Dias, a goalkeeper in Ederson, who almost with the Saudi, but has still been so solid for this group. I think Man City are going to drop only once. They're going to draw 1 game, and I have them finishing second on 22 points. And finishing third, I have Bayern. This Bayern team is still great. They're able to perform in these big situations. And the youth they have around this team, let's take a look at Bayern's team, because not a lot of my channel really knows about the Bayern Munich players who, by the way, they open with Dinamo Zagreb tomorrow. But they signed Michael Olise. They're headlined by Harry Kane up front. They still got Muller. They still got Musiala, Joshua Kimmich, João Palhinha they signed from Fulham. They have so much strength in the attack in the midfield. They still got Neuer. They got Coman and Goretzka. They have so much quality in the attack. Defense is where I think they might struggle, but they still got Alphonso Davies. Their attack, they have so many different attacking options. They can probably score like 50 goals and still not win this league. I have them, I believe, I don't even remember what matches I have them drawing. I know I have them drawing Barca. I have them drawing is it Barca and PSG? Do I have them drawing both of them? Yes. I have them drawing twice. Unless they play Man City, unless I'm forgetting something here. No, I have them drawing PSG for some reason and away to Barca. So there's the points they drop. So we're gonna rattle off all 36 teams before we quickly break down the knockouts. Real Madrid tops with City, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, Inter, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, and Bayer Leverkusen finishing the top 8. 9th through 18th, it's Paris Saint-Germain, AC Milan, Liverpool, Barcelona, Atalanta, Aston Villa, Monaco, Stuttgart, PSV, and Benfica rounding out the top half. Bottom half of the table, the teams that make the knockouts still out of the bottom half, you have Juventus, Leipzig, Sporting, Feyenoord, Salzburg, and Shakhtar Donetsk. But the teams missing the knockouts entirely are Lille, Young Boys, Dinamo Zagreb, Club Brugge, Bologna, Girona, Celtic, Sturm Graz, Sparta Prague, Stade Brestois, Red Star, and Slovan Bratislava. So this is where it gets interesting. You're not going to be able to see graphics for this because there's no graphic I can really find for this. So I did the draw for the knockouts using like a random generator with like seeded teams and unseeded teams for the knockouts. And here were the knockouts that the simulator provided for us. We have AC Milan against Benfica, Barca, PSV, Sporting Stuttgart, Villa, Feyenoord, Juventus, Liverpool, Monaco, Shakhtar, Salzburg, PSG, and Leipzig, Atalanta. So I'll just tell you who I think are going to win. We won't go as much in depth for this because we don't really know if these are going to be the knockouts. I mean, the knockouts are in like 7 months. No, not 7, like 5 maybe. Who the hell? 6 at most. I have AC Milan over Benfica, Barca over PSV, Sporting over Stuttgart. Feyenoord beats Villa because Villa sucks on the road. That's what's going to haunt Villa. I have Liverpool with the quality that they can have. I think they're going to make signings in January. I have them beating Juventus. I have Monaco because they actually have a home field. They beat Shakhtar, but I think it's going to be very, very close. You have PSG over Salzburg. Kind of makes sense. And I have Atalanta, and led by Adama Lukman, beat Leipzig. So that's the round of the first preliminary round. So the round of 16 draw. The 16 teams are Leverkusen, Barca, Madrid, Man City, Inter, Monaco, Atletico Madrid, Bayern, Milan, Arsenal, PSG, Feyenoord, Liverpool, Dortmund, and Atalanta. So we had our matchups being drawn as Leverkusen against Atalanta, Barcelona, Dortmund, Liverpool, Real Madrid, which is very unfortunate for Liverpool. Man City, Feyenoord, Inter Sporting, Monaco, Atletico Madrid, Bayern, Milan, and PSG, Arsenal. So we'll just rattle through them again, similar to the last round, just so we can keep it moving. And by the way, I will try to find a way to get like a knockouts prediction, like a bracket or something. I'm just gonna take a look at something quickly, and while I take a look to see if this app has a way to check to do the knockouts, like a bracket or something, smash the like button. Champions League. I don't think I can pick this. Champions League predictions. Because we're gonna see if FootMob has Champions League predictor. There we go. I didn't type in FootMob. I'm stupid. I don't know if FootMob even has. Apparently they do. So I'm gonna see if there is a way to check this. And I'll look it up for you guys just to make sure we can actually even do this. I know there's it's a competition. I have to like sign up for stuff. So I think I might honestly just try and sign up and see what happens. Let me just see how it works. So I don't know how anything works for this. So I think it's just for the league phase. I don't know what's happening. Let me just look if like the app has it. Dude, I don't even know what I'm doing at this rate, mate. No, I'll check it out later. We'll see if it's not, then is what it is. So round of 16, I have Leverkusen over Atalanta, Barca over Dortmund, Real Madrid beats Liverpool by like not like the slimmest margins. I have Man City over Feyenoord, Inter beats Sporting on penalties, Atletico Madrid beats Monaco on penalties. Bayern beats Milan, and Arsenal I have over PSG. Arsenal's gonna be healthy enough, and I think Arsenal can battle the adversity to get to the quarterfinal. So your quarterfinal teams, and who I think are the 8 best teams and the teams that have the chance to actually win this thing. We have Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Inter, Barca, Man City, Leverkusen, Bayern, and Arsenal. And the draws were Arsenal facing Atletico Madrid, against Bayern Munich against Bayer Leverkusen in the battle for Germany. We have Man City, Barca, and Real Madrid, Inter. We have Real Madrid beating Inter Milan. We have Man City defeating Barcelona on extra time in the second leg. You have Arsenal winning in penalties over Atletico Madrid. And we have Bayern Munich defeating Bayer Leverkusen. I just think this Munich team is more experienced in the Champions League as a whole and just have a better forward court. I think that offense is gonna look so good. So I have Munich going to the semifinal. The 4 teams going to the semifinal are Arsenal, Bayern, City, and Real Madrid. The semifinal draw that the randomizer gave us are Bayern against Arsenal and Man City against Real Madrid. The 2 teams I have going to the Champions League final. In semifinal 1, I have Bayern Munich defeating Arsenal. I think this Bayern team, Arsenal, I know they can defend really, really well, but Bayern's defense, I think this is the time where they really lock him down. I have Bayern winning by multiple goals on aggregate. I have Arsenal being eliminated to Bayern again. The theme is there. This Arsenal team's going to be so close, but I think they got eliminated by Bayern. And going to the final against Bayern Munich, I have Real Madrid defeating City on penalties. That matchup, which is why I think a lot of people want as the Champions League final, is going to be so good. But I have Real Madrid narrowly because I think Real Madrid's defense can find a way to stop Erling Haaland. In some of these bigger moments, Haaland doesn't shine as much. I think Mbappe and Vinicius will. I have Real Madrid winning on aggregate over Manchester City to set up our final as Real Madrid against Bayern, in which I'll have Real Madrid win the Champions League over Bayern Munich in a crazy and electric Champions League final. So, in the end, Real Madrid, I think, will lose one leg, but I think they have a good chance of going unbeaten in the entire competition. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Champions League starts today on the day this video goes live. Tons of competition throughout the Champions League. Some of the best matchups in the world. And we will be going over each matchup, well, not each matchup, but each match day every single time that it's possible to make sure you guys don't miss any of the action. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the Champions League predictions. We'll go over these back again in January. If you like what you see in this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a like. I greatly appreciate it. My broadcast tomorrow is the day of this video, 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Link down below for ESPN Plus to be able to watch the match. It's gonna be fun, entertaining fixture for Iona, who just blew it against Binghamton on Saturday, and George Washington, who are trying to get a signature win. For now, I'm Robbie Basel saying so long. Enjoy the Champions League for 2024-25. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, everyone.